Most uncomfortable D&D moments. Okay.
What was the most uncomfortable awkward moment you ever experienced playing Dungeons and Dragons? The dude didn't understand the premise of organized play, so he spent 0 time helping with the mission and took 20 minutes to tell us about other awesome games he played instead of playing the game in front of him that ended when the store closed. I DM'd for a group where one of the girls was convinced the entire game was for her enjoyment. She would throw fits when the rest of the party didn't want to do what she did and constantly tried to split up from them.
Well, that's just narcissism. There's just a lot of people who are like that, unfortunately. In real life, are we listening to a text-to-speech bot? Yeah, it's one of those YouTube channels that takes Reddit posts and has them read out by like a text-to-speech thing.
It eventually culminated in a very awkward temper tantrum when she refused to go with her party and ended up dying alone. I had the exact same thing
Don't split the party. It's rule number, it's gotta be in the top 10. Don't split the party, that's a bad idea.
happen, but with a dude who was like 5 or 6 years older than the rest of us playing. We're college students. DM offed him with a monster akin to the frogfish ice cream shop from the SpongeBob movie, but with a blacksmith's forge instead of ice cream. It was glorious. Playing Numenera, a role-playing game similar to D&D but taking place in the far distant future, where ancient tech is considered magic and there's all sorts of incomprehensible crap lying in trash heaps or buried in ruins. A player got a
setting.
1-time use blob of neon blue goop that, when spread on the stump of a severed appendage, grows a bright blue replacement limb.
It reminds me a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn. Tucker White 94, why has reading Reddit posts videos become popular? Because people like the stories that are on, like, Ask Reddit, but it's, like, something you can listen to while you're, like, playing a video game without actually, you know, reading it yourself.
You roll a
Same reason audiobooks are popular, I guess.
D6.
It's something that's information to go into your brain, but you don't have to actually physically read it.
And on a 1, it's half the original size. On a 6, twice the original size. Any other result and it's normal. This is obviously meant to be a replacement for a lost arm or leg, with a little extra weirdness and risk to keep things interesting. So naturally, the PC cut off his own penis, smeared the goo on the stump, and grew a foot-long bright blue dong. I dunno, mang. Sounds like he made the right choice. I have a lot of stories, both about my players and the times I effed up, but I'll start with a short one. Player, I don't understand why no one trusts me. Me, Sneaky Pete. You're in a Game of Thrones RPG and you named your character Sneaky Pete. Like Easy Pete's untrustworthy doppelganger. Didn't know any of the guys. Had just got into college and was looking to make friends. One of the players was playing Hearthstone on his phone all the time and would half-ass his actions without even taking his eyes off the screen.
Yeah,
the DM didn't care and was just cracking dumb joke after dumb joke and laughing to himself. One of the other players seemed obsessed with stealing everything and disrupting the narrative. This left me and another guy trying to play it semi-seriously. It was a completely cringy experience. This was my first attempt at D&D. I used to watch some of my friends play it in school but never played it, and it probably will be the last unless my friends get into it. The DM would get drunk and start hitting on me, calling me by his sister's name the whole time. I guess I sorta look like her. Is
this Jeremy? Did the quartering become a DM at some point?
Happened every time he got drunk, which was often. I had this one player who would cheat all the dang time. He would pre-roll dice until he got the number he wanted and just point at it after moving his hand like he had just rolled when his turn was up. He refused.
That's lame. What's the point, guys? Play the game. Come on. That's stupid.
Used to roll up characters in front of everyone because anyone watching was bad luck. He'd constantly change his mind and switch around things on the character several sessions in because he thought the guy wasn't min-maxed enough. He insisted on keeping his character sheet between sessions.
We're already in the first half of the video and I already want to die, says Tucker White.
And the character would mysteriously get stronger between every session. And that's ignoring common things like using information he couldn't possibly have, by buying the module we were playing through and memorizing it. Things like that. The time in question was
stupid. What's the point?
a session we were playing in a different system, Middle-earth role-playing, or some similar name. It wasn't a D20 based system. It was D100, so you'd roll 2 10-sided dice for just about everything.
I actually have a D100 someone sent me. I love it. It's not good at all, and frankly, like, don't buy a D100 to actually roll. I mean, I guess it depends. There are probably good D100s out there, but it's unwieldy, it's too big, it takes up too much space in the dice tray. It's basically just a giant sphere this big, but it is fun.
The DM's girlfriend.
And it rolls a lot. It's hard to get it to stop because it's almost a sphere. Because there's so many different things on it. Let me actually grab it to show you guys. This is a D100 someone sent me. I do like it. It's cool. I've used it a couple times, but like, do you see the problem with rolling this? Because it's almost a sphere, just basically with dimples all over it with numbers. It's hard to get it to stop long enough to decide when to, decide, oh, that's the roll. I don't know. It's cool, though. And it's purple, which is my favorite color. So, yeah, it's a little bit like a golf ball. Yeah.
Now wife, had joined for the first time. She was a very nice person, bubbly and funny. She mostly
Let me roll this right now and see what we get. 50! Wow. Exactly 50. Right in the middle. Okay.
Understood the rules and played along. I noticed early on that when it was her turn, she'd roll her 2 10-sided dice, and whichever one was higher was the 10-sided dice for that roll and the rest of the roll.
This is why you have, I don't know if all of you play D&D. I doubt it. Some of you probably don't. Let me get my dice. So, this is one of the reasons that there are 2 different kinds of 10-sided die. Okay? So we have percentile 10-sided die that have the tens digit. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Most dice sets come with 2 d10s, a percentile and a single one. So like these are 2 from the same set, so you guys can see them. Let's see if this will focus. See, it's 10-sided, but it has, it's in the tens digit. 20, 80, 10, 50, you get it. And then you have the regular d10s that are the single digits. They're the same dice, just one is clearly marked as the tens digit, and one is marked as the ones digit. So when you roll them together, I got a 17. I know that specifically because the tens digit one is the tens digit one. You should never have someone roll 2 single-digit 10-sided dice for something like that. Otherwise, they're good. I mean, I'm not going to say everyone would cheat. So if you're in a group and you trust the people and they're like, and let's say they don't have any percentile 10-sided die for some reason. It's a little weird. Most sets of die come with percentile 10-sided die. But let's say you don't. At the very least, you make a rule then and you say, okay, roll 1 first, and that's the tens, and then you roll a second one, and that's the whatever. But yeah, that's an obvious way to cheat if you're an idiot.
Rolls that round, and next round she'd repeat the process, often causing the tens and 1s dice to change between rounds. Small time cheating, but I was used to so much worse and she was being moderately discreet about it. And then the cheater called her out. He pointed out she was ensuring she always got the highest roll to start her round and it wasn't fair the DM was letting her cheat like that just because she was his girlfriend. She looked a little shocked at being caught, and hurt at how he called her out, so the rest of us started calling out the cheating we had seen that session. Oh, you mean like the time last round where you rolled until you had a 97 and just pointed to it? Didn't you just get Firebolt? How could you have so many points in it? Did you just erase the ones from Waterbolt and transfer them over? You know that isn't in the rules, right? It's funny. I don't remember you looting that magical staff with all those bonuses. DM, can you check to
That's cute. Hobo Dancing Queen says, my son loves watching Charisma Saves being the D&D stream we do over on Actual Jake's channel. We watched last night's stream today, and every time you giggled, he would lose his shit laughing. He's one. That's cute.
See if that's really what the whim had last session. The game got a lot quieter in some portions of the table after that. Man, mine's vanilla as heck compared to some of these. It was Cat P Guy. I was sat next to him. Why the frick is there always a Cat P Guy at game shops? So back in high school we had
They're talking about the smell, if you don't know what they're saying.
ourselves a D&D club. It consisted of myself and 5 friends. My senior year we had a new kid join us who I'm going to call Nate. Nate was a very smart, very nerdy kid who was used to doing things mostly by the book. He had a campaign he wanted to DM, and our normal DM was happy to let him. Very early on in the campaign another kid asked to join who I am going to call Joey. Joey was not very bright. I don't know if he actually had any mental disability, but it just took him forever to get crap done. He began to roll up a character, but because he was frequently late, absent, and super slow it took him probably a dozen sessions to finish. He had to change things constantly because we would be higher level, or he didn't write it down, or he lost his sheet. Every single step of character creation required one of us to basically do it for him. Eventually though, he finally finished his character, an arcane archer. Nate shoehorned him into the story by having us stumble upon him in the dungeon we were in. He was finally going to get to play with us. We left the room we found him in and proceeded to the next area. We open a door and are immediately faced with a beholder. It used
Captain Seculoid says, there's always a Cat P guy. The Cat P guy at my shop was extremely sexist. I think most of them are. He hit on my wife like 2 weeks into us dating and she asked how small his dick was.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Yeah, that's the response, isn't it? Aviv23, one of my party members, constantly goes off on his own for no reason. Yeah, that's a good way for their character to die. The Ender 92, is it okay if I post in the Charisma Saves Discord about starting a Pathfinder game? Didn't see anything and I figured I'd ask first. I think there's a section for like finding a game or starting a game or whatever. That's fine. Like, just because you don't use, I think that's fine. Jake, I think, is technically like the head, you know, admin of it, but like, if it's a tabletop game and you post in like looking for a game or whatever, hey, I'm starting a game, then does anyone want to be in it or whatever? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's still tabletop. Jake might give you shit because he's like, oh, 5e's the best and everything else sucks. Even though I don't think he's ever played Pathfinder, but I think that would probably be fine. I'm sure it's a fine system. I like 5e a lot, but like I haven't played others, so I don't know. But yeah, I've heard good things about Pathfinder.
Uses its finger of death eye on a random party member, which happens to be Joey. Joey rolls a 3 on his saving throw. Joey dies within 2 minutes of playing, having done nothing but fail to roll a fort save. Now, all of us are thinking, Nate, for the love of God, just make something up that allows him to still be alive. Unfortunately, Nate isn't physic and as I said before he is very by the book. Joey is dead, and must roll a new character. It was so unbelievably awkward and painful. We still regret and talk about the mistake of not forcing Nate to let Joey live over 10 years later. The rules exist to help people have fun, not to destroy it. These are the kind of stories I came here to read.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Pathfinder is alright. Lots of math, though. Lots of +1s, counting stats, and min-maxing. I don't know if I'd like it as much as 5e then. Because what I like about D&D, and don't get me wrong, this, you know, the fighting's fun. The stat stuff is fun. I like having skills that my character are good at and, like, knows things about. But, like, what I enjoy about it is the story happening. And it might not seem like it, because I'm not always the most talkative in D&D. I mean, I try, and it's always some sarcastic bullshit that comes out of the professor's mouth. But, like, you know, that's what I enjoy about it. I enjoy the story, like, of the Keepers of 8, and I think that's fun.
Played one session with a bunch of people who had never played before. Most of them were cool, but one guy who was playing a wizard discovered that some low-level spell he had, prestidigitation, allowed him to clean or soil objects up to a certain size. He spent the rest of the session trying to soil everyone and everything we encountered. It was funny the first couple times, but it got annoying really fast. Those kind of in-jokes can be so good in a long-term campaign. We had a bard ranger who pretty much only knew Mendes' spell. So at least once or twice per session someone would burn their clothes in a fight, and he would pipe up excitedly, "I cast mend." Lots of fun when it happens a couple times per session. Not fun 20 times in one session. I saw a dude in his mid-20s cry and storm out of the room because his character got killed because he was doing something stupid, and he did get some bad rolls, like a full-on child hissy fit over a D&D character death. He never wanted to play after that. Some people put a lot into their characters, stuff they're lacking eye roll. My DM is a
True, I understand being legit upset if a character that you've been, like, playing with for a really long time dies. I totes understand that, because, like, if the professor, like, perma died, we're level 17. We've been playing with these characters for, like, 3 years now, in this campaign. We're very high level. Most, like, I don't feel like a lot of campaigns get to, like, level 17, and we might, who knows, maybe we'll get to 20 by the end, I don't know. Regardless, like, if the professor died permanently, my character can, like, regenerate under certain circumstances because they're, like, a Time Lord. Like I said, it's like a homebrew thing. But, like, if the professor permanently died, I'd be very sad about it because that's a lot of time I've spent playing as that character and playing with my friends with it. But, like, yeah, there are limits on, like, how much you should, there are limits on that. I don't know. Daddy Sume, oh, you can still do that in Pathfinder easily. It just fights can crawl with the math required. Yeah, I'd prefer the simpler, but, like, I get it. I'm sure there are people who are very into getting precise on the stats and getting everything very accurate, so that's cool. I'm glad it exists.
A bit.
Most end around 14, yeah. We've gone for a very, very long time.
Loose on taking suggestions on.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Hey, Hannah, can I join the stream and tell my own really infuriating character death story? After this video, because it's your birthday.
Things that don't impact the campaign but may.
Sushi Bomb 10 says, I'm the queen of bad rolls, playing Battletech, and I'm the pilot. We're trying to get off planet to safety, and I'm piloting the drop ship. I critically fail my piloting check for liftoff 3 times in a row for some reason. They didn't want me to pilot anymore. MMO addicted. Pathfinder can be fun with a good group, and GM it has so many options. Oh, I'm sure. Daddy Sumo with 10 bits. Love you, Hannah. Thank you.
Make us roleplay. My dwarf was attacking some random bandit and he had to move under a beam and hit the bandit with his hammer. I rolled a 1. The DM said I ran under the beam but raised my hammer too early, hitting the beam and falling prone. To which the cleric replied and he pooped his pants. That was only the first time my dwarf shat himself. Misread that as the only time. The word first implies more shitage. Do tell. First time playing. Approx 2003. We were in a cave. My turn came up. I said, in my best George W. Bush impersonation, let's search the cave for weapons of mass destruction. I was told to leave. Went back to playing Icewind Dale by myself. That is really stupid and funny.
That's a really, really dumb thing to get kicked out for. That's hilarious.
Once a buddy of mine set me up on a date with a girl he knew. We hit it off and
welcome, the Dark Blue Fool. Thanks for catching the stream. Glad you caught it live.
Started dating. Turns out the buddy didn't expect us to hit it off. He was just trying to ice her a bit while he was off dating someone else. When he found out we were actually dating, he flipped out. He was my DM. The next session he tried to kill my character, a D&D 2nd ed, LVL8 fighter. The other players wouldn't have it. It turned into a weird shouting match about betrayal and douchebaggery. Sounds like a swell guy. Hope he eventually flushed out his headgear.
The stories I hear about other people's D&D groups make me feel so fortunate. Jake is such a good DM, and the other players are so, like, we're so chill with each other. I really, really appreciate that. Like, probably the worst person in the group is me. Because I have a bad habit of talking over other people and I need to stop. But, like, other than that, like, it's a good group.
Well, this kinda needs a break.
MMO addicted. I'd roll a D1000 and on 1,000 give them a sphere of annihilation. Jesus.
Down. I joined an online game with the following. Me, DM and his girlfriend. We'll call them couple 1. Another couple who we'll call couple 2. Some chick that the DM had I guess met on the internet at some point. I only played 1 session. but the gist of it is that the chick from couple 1 made it a point to flirt and try to get nasty with the solo chick or the dude from couple 2 as much as possible. The chick from couple 2 was constantly flirting and trying to get nasty with me, and the dude from couple 2 tried to get nasty with every single female NPC that the DM put out there, whether it was alive or dead. The DM kept making commentary throughout the session about how he really likes black chicks, but the only black chick at the table was the solo chick. It was just frickin' weird. It crossed into the realm of ERP multiple times throughout the entirety of the 5-hour-long session, and while everyone else seemed to be having a great time, I just felt fricking out of place and weird the entire time. It was like being at a swingers party, but you are just confused as frick because
Okay.
you were invited to have a couple drinks and play poker. I've told this story before, but I was deployed alone to a unit I was unfamiliar with.
Those are mine! You cannot steal. No steal. Swipe or no
I
swiping.
already got them. That
Swipe or no swiping!
That doesn't count anymore.
Yes, it does!
No.
Yeah, Swiper will take a thing and then...
No.
Oh, God.
It's when it gets close to it, they say swipe or no swiping. Then it'll get closer. Swipe or no swiping. Then it'll get closer. Swipe or no swiping. I already got them.
Put them back.
No, they're mine. I'm gonna put them in our burgers.
That would taste terrible. We would choke.
I mean, you'd choke.
You would choke too! Oh, it's it's a joke about... Okay. It's a deep-throating joke.
I tried to make friends there, and one of the things the guys would do was play
You
D&D.
didn't even get the good dice.
No,
There's
you
nothing
didn't.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Ah! Did Baja show you the Alex Jones thing?
Oh, is that Sushi Mom?
Yes.
I did not show.
I did only say it twice. Swipe or no swiping. There's number 3.
Yeah, but you have to do it before I get it. That's the
Has
point.
Swiper ever gotten anything? How do you know that's how it works?
Yes, he has. Have you never watched Dora the Explorer?
Not since I was, like, very, very young.
Me neither, but I still remember the rules.
I'm sorry, I don't know the rules of Dora the Explorer. I know she's got a backpack, and a map, and a monkey called Boots. It's played by Danny Trejo in the movie.
I don't know who Danny Trejo is.
He's Machete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had never played, but I asked if I could and they set me up. So
Professor Dice.
This can I actually show this to them because it is cool. So like I said, we do the D&D campaign over on Jake's stream. And we actually did like a promotion with I think they're called Long Dog Dice on Etsy. It's very cool. And they made specialized dice themed after each of our characters, and this was the Professor dice. So this is an actual like dice that they made just for my character, which I wish this would focus, but it won't.
Try covering your hand with your face. So that,
There we go.
There you go. It always tries to like focus on
They're
your
very
face.
cool. It's honestly, it's got such sharp edges. Like they came out so clean.
Yeah, it's got sharper edges than your metal dice.
Yeah, it's very, very crazy. Actually, let me pull up their store. Long Dog Dice. They're sold out of the Professor ones as of right now. In fact, they don't have any items listed at this time because they're just like a small, they do them all themselves. But like, yeah, looks like her name's Jen. I actually didn't know her name. But yeah, check out this store sometime because they have some really cool stuff. Are there photos of the other dice, I wonder? No. But yeah, they had character-themed dice, and it was a cool time. Like, they're very nice.
here I am walking through a cave with literal and figurative strangers. I don't know these guys, but everyone seems level-headed. That is until I get to a cliff face that is too dark to see. I have a torch, so I light it up. Freaking crap explode.
Okay, you were backing away very suspiciously.
I was just looking at you because you're cute.
Thank you. I'm not mean. Mm-hmm.
I must have missed something because everyone turned on me. One guy got up and threw a chair. He freaking rolls to douse the torch and calls me an butthole. I'm confused. I say sorry and we carry on, but every move I made they all gave me a distrustful look. It was a long deployment and tensions were high. It was my first and last time playing D&D. A member of the party spent 20 minutes trying to seduce everything in the room. The DM wouldn't have it. He wouldn't stop trying. Freaking bards. I seduced a dragon so it doesn't always end up making things awkward. That dragon became my wife and she helped me throughout the rest of the campaign. She died protecting me. I miss my dragon wife.
Oh, it's like Egnir. Egnir has a dragon wife too.
Some girl we were playing with insisted on having her character have sex with one of the enemies. Very uncomfortable. Whenever someone just disobeys the rules they agreed to, it's so awkward to have that conversation. I used to DM, and one of my stipulations was no evil player characters. I've just seen it led to too much in-character fighting in the past, and in-character fighting usually leads to real-life arguing, so nope. Just a rule I have when I DM. One guy agreed, then made the most evil neutral character I've ever seen.
Someday I want to do an evil campaign. Where the crux is every, character in our group is evil, and we're not trying to save the world, you're trying to, like, take it over or something. I think that would be a really fun campaign to do. I don't know how feasible it would be. Like, I feel like that'd be tough to carry out, but if you could do it, I think it would be a lot of fun.
Sorry, but disguising yourself as someone, then cutting her face off while she's still alive so you can't assume her identity is evil. I don't care what it says on your character sheet, Evan. There were a lot of other evil things he did. Torture, unprovoked murder of innocents, etc. But this is where the rest of the party finally turned on him. He fought it for a while, but eventually he brought a new character the next session. You can only be neutral for so long. A DM took a comedic moment too far and basically turned an entire adventure into a send-up of the Rocky Horror Picture.
Sarah had we did we planned on doing a whole Curse of Strahd thing with Alex as the DM. We weren't broadcasting it or anything, but we did it. We only did a one episode, and it was a lot of fun. Session. I'm so used to calling them episodes because of the stream. We only did one session. Jake was playing. If you watch the D&D stream, you'll know who I'm talking about. Jake was playing Sig Horcus Porcus, a younger version of Sig from the campaign, as his player character, which, boy, I wish that campaign had continued. Sig as a player character would have been so great. We had, Sarah had a true neutral character that was a construct. I think it was a construct that was, like, a friend of Sig's. And then I was playing, just like a rogue that's gonna be my character in the second campaign over on Charisma Saves, actually. But, like, that was a lot of fun.
Picture show. A mysterious alchemist character who was supposed to be a recurring...
Evil campaigns can get dark. When I say evil campaign, I'm thinking super villainy evil. Like, we're gonna take over a town. Not like we're gonna murder an orphanage. You know what I mean? I have the benefit of having friends who I know have, like, a line, and they're not gonna, like, push the envelope to really disgusting real-world dark places. But, like, I understand if that's something you'd be concerned about in your groups.
Villain
Megamind, sure. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like a bunch of villains who are like, we're gonna take stuff over. Or like even if they're just like thieves, selfish thieves, we're gonna go rob the banks all around, wherever. I don't know.
Practically turned into Dr. Frank.
Furry cake cringe. That's very specific, first of all, and second of all, is that not safe for work? Because I cannot show a not safe for work, like, erotic bakery thing.
Ken. Furter. Jokes naturally creep into a campaign, but I've always felt when you start writing them in that it can be too much. Months later, when that group had fizzled, I had an opportunity to view the DM's notes, and what that adventure could have been before the jokes was something awesome. But at the same time, some of the most beautiful things in D&D happen when the players and DM both have been forced off the rails into a wild adventure for all involved. Just hope the DM pre-planned enough world building or potential diversionary content to keep things going unless they're an absolute story master with improvisation. You have been visited by the wall doggo. Subscribe to Reddit on tap.
Alright, let me get Daddy Sume up so you can talk about the thing you wanted to talk about. Waiting room. Live. Now let me enter live. Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, hello.
Hello! So you wanted to tell a story about... What was it, a character death? Sorry, it was a little bit ago, and I have ADHD.
I'm good. So, this story is in a Warhammer 40k setting.
Okay.
I know you don't know much about that, but I'll explain it as best I can.
Okay.
So we are Imperial Guardsmen, which are the normal human grunts who die by the billions and are basically worthless. You throw them at a problem until it's drowned in bodies and goes away.
Yeah, the like 40k universe, the humans are basically like fascist, right? It's like they're like fascist, like, and they fight and they don't care about the soldiers and stuff. Okay.
Pretty much, but they're fascist for very good reasons because everything wants humans dead.
Okay.
It's an awful universe, and humanity has become awful because it's an awful universe.
Okay.
So, in this setting, we are a group of friends is playing as Imperial Guardsmen. Now, two of these people I've played with a lot. They're two of my best friends, and I've had my best role-playing sessions with them. The other people in the group are one of my friend's husband and his friends. The friend's husband is the DM. He doesn't like me very much, but that's not quite important to the story. So we're on a world that is mostly oceans, and we are basically a submarine crew, and we are the away team of the submarine crew. My character is the leader of this away crew. He's the first mate of the ship, and he's in charge of the away crew. The wife, who's one of my best friends, is playing as a commissar. A commissar is basically the morale officer. They're the people who encourage the troops to make sure they don't run away. And they do that by shooting people in the head.
Oh, that's very encouraging. Great.
Oh yes, I mean they succeed in motivating you by being more frightening than the thing that's in front of you. You can't go backward because that thing's scarier than the thing in front of you.
Okay.
And so we are going through the role playing, and I'm trying to avoid actually being a commander and telling people what to do because we're role playing, and I don't want to just be like, "Hey, go do this right now. I'm your commanding officer. Go do it." So it's I'm between a rock and a hard place because in character,
so are you guys like, and again, I don't know if this has like, do you have like character levels similar to like D&D?
Sort of. It's you buy abilities with XP that you get.
Okay.
More like White Wolf, sort of.
Okay, but you were like on this ship and you're all part of the crew, but you were a higher rank being the commissar.
No, I'm the first mate. The other character is the commissar.
Okay, sorry.
We're higher ranked militarily, but we're still low-level player characters, essentially. Low-power player characters. And so, in character, they are pushing me to take actual command of the missions because, like, hey, like you should be in command of the missions. You're the first mate. You need to be taking charge.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets to a point where we are back on base, where on shore leave because we've been fighting hard. It's time for shore leave, and the commissar has a problem with me because I'm not performing as a leader should. Because commissars are the leadership officers, they're the morale officers, and if I'm not performing well enough, it's a problem that she needs to take personal interest in.
I feel is this story going to end with the commissar murdering you? Because that's
yes,
pretty fantastic.
It is actually. Yeah. So we get into an argument. Essentially, is like, I don't respect you. I don't like you. You are a morale officer who doesn't actually have to fight in with the line with the troops. You've been given cushy jobs. You get to do whatever you want. You've been raised in a scala progenium with a silver spoon in your mouth. You haven't been down in the muck, in the dirt, doing the horrible things that the rest of us have to do. So no, I don't respect you. I don't think you're a good person, and I will never respect you. At which point, they pull out their gun and shoot me in the face. This is another player character. This is one of my best friends who does this, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna get off the session right now because I am extremely angry. This was over Discord, just to be clear. It was over the internet because long distance role playing and all that. So I am livid at this point because they just murdered my character. Like, I get it in character, it's a thing, but like, what the fuck? Like, excuse my language. Could you at least talk to me about this before you just execute my character? Like, okay, I get it, but it was all based on a misunderstanding. They thought I was saying that I would never respect the role of the commissar and I'd be disobeying them on missions. It's like, no, that's not what I was saying at all. But you already executed me.
I mean, it sounds like a misunderstanding that would lead to a death in a dystopian, fascist sci-fi setting.
You're right, that's true. But at the same time, we're friends in a D&D game, and I'm just like, oh my god, you just killed my character. I'm gonna kill you. And I basically quit that game, even though I love 40K. I love 40K to death. But it's just like, I can't rejoin this game because I'll just be making characters just to screw with her character and get her killed. Because honestly, I am so pissed off about it, and I was really like that character.
I feel like I'm petty enough where that's what I would do. It would be just the avenging spirit of the first character inhabiting other characters and trying to murder the commissar.
Yeah, because I had been a major part of setting up this game because I was the one who came up with the entire planet that we were fighting on, and I was the one who came up with the regiment we were fighting in, which is from a world that has its own submarines on it, which is not something that exists in most 40K. So I was the one who came up with all this stuff and was the one who did all the brainstorming, and you just murdered my special fairy OC, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so pissed right now. I was ready to I was so ready to kill something, and it was just like, oh my god, why'd you do that to me? So that's my story about infuriating character death.
Well, that's funny. Thank you for sharing, and happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you, Hannah. You look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me on. I'll see you later. I'll continue watching the stream.
Sure. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Now I have the song Don't Turn Around. Uh-oh! The commissar's in town. Whoa! Stuck in my head. It's kind of a funny story, though. I mean, funny. I'm sure it sucked, but it kind of makes me laugh. It's like, yeah, that tracks. That sounds like what would happen in that universe. I don't know. I don't know a lot about 40K, though, so...